Hello and welcome to another edition of Bombchu News. My name is Chris, I'm joined by Andron, and today we'll be covering the news that we found interesting. Def Jam is teasing a possible new entry in their fighting game franchise. Def Jam Vendetta was a cool hip-hop pro wrestling mashup that used the amazing Aki engine, popularized by Nintendo 64-era wrestling games like WWF No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000. The game was followed by the even more amazing Def Jam Fight for New York, featuring a larger cast and a surprisingly deep and well-told story. Unfortunately, the series came to an abrupt end with the release of Def Jam Icon, which ditched the Aki engine style of gameplay in favor of a more traditional fighting game style, and just wasn't anywhere near as good as the first two. Since then, the series has been presumed dead, but this year, Def Jam has started stirring up the rumor mill on Twitter. Back in June, Def Jam tweeted out a mock-up PS4 cover of a Def Jam game, asking fans who they'd like to see on the cover if the game hypothetically made a comeback. Today, Def Jam tweeted out another image with the message "Pick a city." The image teased a new Def Jam game, set in one of 4 possible cities, asking fans which they would want to see next. The cities included Atlanta, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Miami. I was a huge fan of Def Jam Fight for New York, and spent countless hours going through the story, crafting my character, and fighting alongside some of my favorite rappers. Fans have been clamoring for a true sequel ever since the disaster that was Icon flopped, and hopefully these tweets are more than just fan service and we can get a true return to form for the Def Jam series. Personally, I hope we get Def Jam Atlanta so we can get Outkast and Childish Gambino, but I'll be happy to take whatever we can get, as long as they've learned from their mistakes.
If you're eagerly awaiting the sequel to the surprise hit Lords of the Fallen, your wait just got a little bit longer. In an interview with Eurogamer, the managing director of Defiant Studios, David Grins, announced that they have completely reset the work done so far. Lords of the Fallen 2 was initially announced back in 2014 by the developer Deck 13. However, after some internal strife and reorganization, the current developer Defiant Studios has decided to completely clean house and start over fresh. They have thrown away 2 years of work and in its place have brought in a brand new engine and a new team as well. In the interview mentioned earlier, Grins explained this radical restart as an attempt to deeply focus on the player experience and feel through combat and a number of other areas. He goes on to say that this new focus on polish is where quality comes from. While I completely agree, this pushes the development cycle of Lords of the Fallen 2 back at least a few years. I'm hoping this period of polish pays off, but wouldn't expect to see the finished product until very late in the year 2020.
Valve has announced a release date for their next game, Artifact. For those who aren't familiar, Artifact is a digital card game set in the Dota universe. Valve announced that the game would be launching on Steam on November 28th of this year. Artifact will launch with over 280 cards in the set, all of which will be able to be bought and sold on the Steam Community Marketplace. Unlike other digital card games like Hearthstone, Artifact will not be available for free, instead requiring a full purchase for users to play. While the idea of another card game wouldn't normally have me too excited, as I had burned out on Hearthstone quite a while ago, there's a few things different about Artifact that have piqued my interest. With the game not being free to play, Valve is hoping to put more of an emphasis on deck building and theory crafting, with power not necessarily being tied to a card's rarity. Also, Artifact is being designed by Richard Garfield, who created Magic the Gathering, a card game I've been in love with for a long time. The idea of Richard Garfield working on a Dota card game is enough to get me to try it out. An early word from people who have gotten to try the game has been pretty positive so far, calling Valve's approach to the genre unique and not just Hearthstone with a Dota mod on top of it. Fans of Magic the Gathering and Dota might want to give Artifact a shot when it launches on November 28th. Well, that's all the news that we found interesting today. Let us know what you thought about it down in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.